what's going on, everybody? I just finished up a test drive in the Jeep, took it over to Carlsbad, New Mexico, and picked up another 241C transfer case. Um, the transfer case in the Jeep has had a crack in it ever since I got it, and it's starting to get a little worse. Every time I stress it, the crack is growing, and its days are numbered. It's just a matter of time before it comes apart. It's got a lot of good internals in it. It's got the slip yoke eliminator with the 31 spline shafts in it. So before that happens, I need to get that swapped out. But found another transfer case, went over there, got it. I'll move all the internals out of this transfer case into that other housing, and uh, be good to go. Shouldn't be too big of a project. I've never tore into a 241C case before, but uh, I think I'll figure it out. If not, there's always YouTube University. But 160 miles, maybe a little more. The Jeep did amazing. Um, that's the first time on this engine that I've taken it out on the highway very far. I've done some 20 or 30 mile test drives, playing with the tuning on the Holly fuel injection system. But other than that, that was the first long distance trip that it's been on since I put the new motor in it last week, and everything worked out really good. I installed a electronic cruise control on the Jeep, and that is amazing. That's a game changer in this Jeep. It's got a 102 millimeter throttle body, and it's got a pretty stiff throttle return spring built into it. And your leg will cramp up after 15 or 20 minutes of holding that throttle steady. And this new engine, it wants to cruise at about 90 mile an hour. So before I got a speeding ticket, I decided I needed to get the cruise control put on. I didn't have to spend any money. I bought that cruise control for my medium duty tow truck, oh, 5 or 6 years ago, and ended up going a different direction with it. So it's just sitting there anyway, and gone ahead and put it on here and loving it. I've got it all tied into the factory um, switch on the turn signal. So it's basically like driving a factory vehicle, non-modified. Just hit the set and then coast and resume. Works great. But the reason behind cruise control, a lot of people have off-road recovery Jeeps, and uh, you know Matt's off-road recovery. He's got the Morvair, Fab Rats. He's got the Rat Rod Wrecker, and Rory's got Trailmater, and those guys. They got the ability to have multiple people and trailers, what have you. I've got a trailer I can haul my Jeep on, but I'm out here in the oil field. If I hook onto my car trailer with my Kodiak and I go out on a normal recovery, my normal recoveries are at least 60 miles from here. A lot of times they're over 100 miles away. So if I go out on a recovery, load this up on a trailer, go and do a job, unload it, whenever I get to the bad roads, and drive back up in there 10 or 15 miles down the lease roads or cow trail, whatever I'm on, off road, go do the job, come back. I'm probably not going to have a Kodiak whenever I get back, and definitely ain't going to have a car trailer. It'll be gone. And if I do have a pickup, it's probably going to have a window knocked out of it, stereo stolen out of it, and setting on the axles, because the wheels and tires will be stolen off of it. So for me, I have to drive what I'm taking out on a recovery. Um, I've got to drive it out there, It's got to get the job done, and it's got to get me home. So that's one of the reasons why I did a cruise control on it. That's one of the main reasons why I put a LS engine in it. I'm a die-hard big block Chevy man. I raced pretty much everything I've ever raced, and I've been racing since I was a teenager. Has always been big block Chevys. My hot rods and mud boggers, everything. But to build a 500 horsepower big block Chevy, you're not going to have a reliable drive it around the world engine. It's going to be on a short fuse, I guess you'd say. It'll be a grenade that's waiting to blow up. They're just not the reliability factor is not there once you get up there in that 500 horsepower range. And this thing without it still needs more tuning done. It's not bad, but it's got a lot more potential in the tuning as far as the fuel mileage and stuff goes. But where it's at right now, with a little bit of driving that I've done and a little bit of tuning on it, I was running 75 miles an hour, and this thing's getting, anywhere from 11 to 13 miles to a gallon. After we get it dialed in perfect, it'll probably be up there around 16 or 17 miles to a gallon. And I can't complain about that being, it's on 1-ton axles and everything's heavy that I've put on it. Nothing's been thin wall. Every piece of metal I've put on it's been heavy wall. And 40-inch tires, 1-ton axles, and a ton of gear in the back. So don't know what it weighs. I need to run it over the scale. Maybe you guys can guess, and I'll go weigh it on a scale and get a weight ticket and see who's the closest. But I'm figuring it's probably around 6,000 pounds, 5,500 to 6,000 pounds. But that's just my guess. I don't know. Did get a little lighter with the aluminum engine block on this engine, but done really good. What else was I gonna talk about? There is still a lot of things I need to do to this Jeep. I need to get some under lights, some rock lights. The stereo, I spent a lot of money on that stereo, and it's got, I believe, 6 inputs for cameras on it. And right now there's 0 cameras on the Jeep. Not real sure what all there is out there, but I'm wanting a camera to go up underneath, probably, close to the engine, to where I can see the front tires, kind of see this area right here, and maybe a camera that's mounted up in here facing backwards, but I want to be able to see what the front wheels are going to run over. Of course, I need a backup camera, and I want some side view cameras, a front facing camera, up on the top or by the excuse me, by the rear view mirror somewhere. But I want to get some cameras on this. 99.9% of the time when I do a job, I'm by myself. So if I can have a camera spotting for me, it'll make my life a little bit easier and probably a whole lot safer. But the other thing I need to do to this Jeep, I got the rear receiver hitch mounted winch, but I've never set up a auxiliary power plug on the back of the Jeep. For the most part, I've got that winch back there for an anchor, and where I can tie it onto something to help anchor this down. I haven't had to use it yet. And I've got my jump box that I can wind it back up whenever I'm done, or throw the winch line in the back and roll the window up on it, as far as that goes. But that needs to be hooked up. has a quick disconnect, and I want to cut this off and put a receiver hitch up here and put another power disconnect up here to where I can put that winch up here underneath and have dual winches in the front. But that, work out this front suspension. I need to, this was my transmission cooler. When I first got this in, I was having to relocate some stuff and messing with the air conditioning condenser, getting the AC working on this. I opted to put this log style cooler. I don't even know if you can see it in the camera, but this little black log, thin log style cooler on there for the transmission as a temporary deal. When I put the new transmission in, I'd already had the air conditioning and everything done, so I gone ahead and put a transcooler that goes, it's tied into the transcooler on the radiator, comes out of the radiator, and then it goes to a big high performance cooler up in front of the radiator, right in front of the air conditioner condenser, then back to the transmission. So this now needs to get tied into the power steering, just to keep the power steering running cooler come summertime. And just a few little odds and ends, but for the most part, this thing's doing amazing. I spent a little money back in November, in the mid-November on the Kodiak, got new injectors and fast fuel, EFI Live, new water pump, manifolds, turbo up pipes. Spent some money on the Kodiak trying to get it roadworthy. It's been needing injectors for a while now, and the water pump was dripping whenever it was real cold, had a cold water drip, but it's at 100%. Juggernaut's running pretty good. I've got a few mods I need to do to it, but I'll make a video on it, just specific to it, but it's running pretty good. Been out there doing what it needs to do. The heavy wrecker, I had the engine in framed on it in December. That cost quite a bit of money, but it's got a fresh in-frame Caterpillar on it, so I should be good for at least a good 700,000 miles, maybe a million miles. You know, don't work it too hard, but that's some of the stuff that's been going on the last couple months. You know, working on getting this thing 100%, and unfortunately happened to swap out engines. Yes, it's the engine I was going to put in it, but I was wanting to wait a little while. But that broken valve spring that trashed the other engine left me no choice but to get this one engine swapped, and it's done. Get the transfer case done, like I said, and start working on these other little niceties. The transfer case is probably priority number one on this one right now. The heavy wrecker, I've got a couple of seals on two of the cylinders that are starting to weep, a little bit of hydraulic fluid. When it gets a little warmer, I'll probably pull those off and take them to the hydraulic shop and have them repack those cylinders. But other than that, and that's not a major deal. It's just a nuisance. The heavy's working good, Juggernaut's working good, Kodiak's working good, this thing's working amazing, and hopefully I can get some more videos out to y'all. I'll try to do a little bit of a detailed video on the transfer case, just because I'm going to be learning. I've never tore into a 241C. This transfer case already had the slip yoke eliminator kit put on it before I got it, and yeah, so the transfer case that I picked up for a donor case for this one, it'll be a first time for me to do it, and I'll probably just try to video it. I'll probably just lift the lift up a little bit and use it as a workbench, so I can stick a camera on the lift and y'all can watch me make a fool of myself. But anyhow, that's what's been going on around here. You know, I've been doing some little short videos and stuff, and been really busy. Had a lot going on with the holidays, and like I said, spent a fortune on all the trucks. I've between the 4 trucks, I've probably spent around between $40,000 and $50,000 in the last 90 days. So been kind of focused on them and not making too many videos. Still to this day don't make a dime off of anything I do on YouTube. I am verified and what have you. I need 9 more subscribers before I'm fully monetized, but that'll come with time, and not really trying to push that right now. Rather get all of my gear working real good, and then focus on the YouTube aspect of it, and go from there. Thought I had the heavy wrecker sold. There was something I didn't discuss. Thought I had the heavy wrecker sold. That's why it gone into the shop to have an end frame done on it, because it did have a little bit of mechanical issues that was starting to show their face, and it needed to be done. And I was offered $250,000 for it, and I told them I'd sell it for that, or if they wanted to throw another $25,000, I'd get it in the shop and have the engine overhauled, and that's the way they wanted to go. So I put it in the shop, and about 2 days before the shop had it finished up, they called me and let me know that they couldn't get financed. They had some issues with their bank, let's just leave it at that, and they was unable to get finance. Wanted to know if I wanted to owner finance, and I told them no. So that was one of the things I was working on, and I was kind of looking forward to selling the heavy wrecker. I'll be 50 in May, and it's getting a little rough to crawl underneath these, heavy duty oil field trucks and pull drive shafts out to tow them down the road. The traffic's pretty bad here, and I was kind of excited to get rid of it. At the same time, I would have missed that truck. I pretty much built that wrecker from a pile of junk. I mean, it wasn't a pile of junk, it's a good truck, but I put a lot of heart and soul into that truck over the last 11 years that I've been driving it, and I would have missed it. But at the same time, I was looking forward to a new chapter in the towing life, dropping the towing off and just doing recovery work. Towing used to be a real passion for me, but the older I get, the less I want to crawl underneath these trucks out on the side of the road and pull drive shafts and cage brakes, and all that stuff's heavy, and I'm not getting any younger. So that's why I was looking forward to getting rid of it, but at the same time, I'm kind of happy it's still around. Last 2 or 3 jobs I've done have been in the heavy, so it's paying the bills right now, so I should be happy that I do have it. But anyhow, I've rambled enough, bored everybody to death, and until next time, thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe if you haven't already.